Welcome back, guys, to Halloween month. Yes, last time I have reviewed Psycho, and that movie came out in the 60s. Now we are going to the 70s. Now, I reviewed a lot of 70s horror movies on my channel, including Jaws, Halloween, and The Exorcist. But I am so shocked that I haven't reviewed Alien. Because Alien, the movie that came out in 1979, directed by Ridley Scott, is, of course, in my top 30 favorite movies of all time. So, let's review Alien. I'm so shocked I haven't reviewed Alien on my channel. Before I continue reviewing the 1979 classic, please make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and ring the bell for more movie reviews and iMovie related content. And I got a little thing I want to show you before I continue on my review, and that is this Xenomorph figure. This Xenomorph figure looks amazing. It looks so accurate, and what I love about it is that you can even see the skull. I'm not sure if you can see it from here, but you can see the skull through its head, and I'm like, that is such a cool design. You even get the, let me open its mouth, you even get the jaw thing inside it, you get the tail, like even the design, it looks freaking amazing. This turns out to be one of my favorite, probably horror figures in my collection. Yes, one day I will do my figure collection video. For now, we're going to talk about some horror movies. So, Xenomorph, you're a little treat in this review. I'm going to put you back. So, Alien, once again, came out in 1979. This movie is directed by Ridley Scott, who is probably one of the most revolutionary directors out there. I said it for Alfred Hitchcock, I'm also saying for Ridley Scott, because most of his movies are fantastic. Gladiator, Velma and Louise, in my opinion, very underrated movie. In my personal opinion, I think Blade Runner is a bit overrated. Even though I do still like that movie. But I think what Ridley Scott does really well in these movies is his direction with them. Yes, there are some movies that he didn't do a great job, like Exodus, Gods and Kings, Kingdom of Heaven, you know, those movies. But movies like The Martian and Black Hawk Down, like, he's really fantastic at mastering film, especially from his best film, Alien. Now, spoiler alert, guys, if you have not seen Alien, seriously, you have not seen the 1979 classic that revolutionizes science fiction films today. This is a mixture between science fiction and horror, and of course, it's a horror film, so it counts as Halloween month review. So seriously, watch Alien if you have not seen it, or other horror films that I'm going to be reviewing for Halloween month. Seriously, because I'm continuing to talk about just some of my favorite horror films this whole freaking month. So please watch Alien, because this movie is amazing, still to this day, still a classic. So, what is Alien about? Basically, it's about this trucker crew in space discovers this planet while on their way back to Earth. They get signals from that planet, so of course the crew goes out and checks it out. And John Hurt's character discovers a bunch of eggs, alien eggs, and of course the egg detaches himself to John Hurt's face. And back on the ship when they're trying to get rid of the alien, they didn't notice that this alien lays this egg inside of John Hurt. And that leashes the Xenomorph itself, going out and killing off the crew one by one and growing up intensely fast. I can spend a whole hour saying how fantastic Alien is, but of course, I can't keep it that long. Like, this movie is of course in my top 30 favorite films of all time. I'm sure it is, because everything about Alien is masterful filmmaking. Ridley Scott directs this movie extremely well, especially for a science fiction horror movie, and this does a really good mixture of two different genres and make it work in this movie. This movie took place in probably the most scariest situation ever, in space. Like the tagline of the movie says, in space nobody can hear you scream, or no one can hear you scream. That is basically what space is. There is no contact for help. All you are in is this really blank space with stars and planets. And the movie just took place in a ship where all this crew is in, and it's not a big place. So it makes this movie more suspenseful and thrilling, and Ridley Scott knows how to direct suspense in these type of movies. Like, you don't even get to see the Xenomorph that much. For most of this movie, you see the characters going through really dark places, hallways, with sound effects of water dripping or sirens going off. And you feel so suspenseful even though you don't see the creature, because Ridley Scott makes that suspense really well, like the sound effects and the music and stuff. They put it in the exact right moment. This movie doesn't have even much music, it's more about sound effects, but the music in the movie comes in the right time, basically. But also, this movie is well shot. Like, from the opening of this movie, the first, 2 minutes of the film, you just hear nothing. You just see space, you see the whole space shuttle how it works and all that stuff, and the way Ridley Scott directs that, it just keeps us invested because it's so quiet, and then you hear like the ship going on, and you jump because it's like, holy shit, a noise, a sound effect even happened. Let's talk about the crew in this movie, because of course that's what this movie basically focuses on. And what I love about this crew in the movie is no one stands out yet as the main character of the movie until this situation happened, which of course is Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver. But before that, you really like this crew. Most of this crew is basically the main characters of the movie. And that's the thing about monster movies these days that doesn't do well this day. Human characters. They never do it well. In like, nowadays, always the human characters are just like, yeah, we're just human characters, blah blah blah. But with Jaws, and especially Alien, they made us care about these human characters and make them root for them to get out of the situation or even not get killed by the Xenomorph. Because you like every single member of the crew, and when their situations happen, you're like, yeah, I don't want them to die, because they are very likable characters. And there are some twists that goes on in the film, especially for Ash's character, that I'm going to spoil right now, played by Holm, who played Bilbo Baggins in the Lord of the Rings movies, the old Bilbo Baggins. We find out he's an android, and it just changes this whole characters and crew around, and you just love all of the crew members in the film, especially Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver, which we find out she's actually the main character of the film, because she's one of those characters that basically gets the job done and follows the procedures. And of course, Sigourney Weaver, this is one of her most iconic performances, probably more iconic in Aliens, but in this movie she was fantastic in the film, and you see her basically becoming this badass like very, very slowly, and then Aliens she's like, yep, she's a full-on badass. But in this movie, Sigourney Weaver as Ripley is just a person that loves following orders. But of course, we have to talk about the Xenomorph. Of course, because we can't talk about Alien without talking about the Xenomorph. This is, in my opinion, one of the best designs that I've seen in a monster movie, or even an Alien movie. And I'm just like, how come the designs these days don't make it as accurate and as good as the Xenomorph back in 1979? Like, seriously, this design is amazing. I love the details that the Xenomorph have, like the sharp tail it's got, the jaw coming out of the jaw, like poisonous smoke that comes out of it. Like, I love how the design is and how the alien basically works. It makes it more terrifying and scary, and it's even practical. There were some parts that were visual effects, but they do hold up. Most of the visual effects in this movie holds up, and this movie came out in the 70s. Actually, 1979, almost the 80s. Holy shit, it still holds up to this day. I got it on Blu-ray. It's a great Blu-ray, and it shows the visual effects really, really well. Now, the Blu-ray comes up with the theatrical cut or the director's cut. Which one should you prefer? I would say the director's cut, because, of course, the director's cut adds more awesome and balanced scenes. So, I recommend you guys the 2003 director's cut by Ridley Scott. And it's like, he does that a lot, like with Blade Runner and all that stuff. He does a lot of those things and just got away with it. Like with now, like with Justice League, for example, where it was like, where's the Zack Snyder cut? And we're getting a Zack Snyder cut, and like, all that stuff. Like with Alien, I don't think no one gives a shit. Like the theatrical and director's cut, they both have their good differences. But I would say the director's cut was extremely better than the theatrical cut. Theatrical cut is good, don't get me wrong, but I think the director's cut is fantastic. Of course, some of my favorite moments in Alien is, of course, one of the most iconic scenes, I would say in movie history, is the chestburster scene. Now, the fact about this scene is that the director, Ridley Scott, didn't tell, like, the crew what's going to happen during that scene. He basically told them, like, okay, just react and all that stuff. So with the blood coming out of John Hurt's, like, stomach and see the actual xenomorphs, that's their real reaction. Which I'm like, that is clever filmmaking right there. I'm like, how is this not done in so long? And of course that scene is very, very suspenseful. And just give props to John Hurt's acting with that scene, which rest in peace, man. That scene, wow. Still one of the most intense scenes till this day. And still, Alien is one of the scariest movies that I have seen in horror movies with The Exorcist. I was still freaked out by this movie. And I watched this movie last night. I was still on the edge of my seat. Because Ridley Scott gives us the tension and gives us a grip of what filmmaking is like. You don't need jump scares to scare you. It's just mostly the scenery and suspenseful and where the movie took place. And of course the Xenomorph design looks scary enough, to make us jump. So guys, overall, Alien is one of my favorite movies of all time. Now, which one do I prefer though? Alien or Aliens? Because some people prefer Aliens over Alien. In my opinion, I prefer Alien. Don't get me wrong, I love Aliens, and I will review that movie when basically Avatar 2 comes out, because that movie's not directed by Ridley Scott, it's directed by James Cameron, who's directing Avatar 2. So, I'll review Aliens then. But I love Aliens, don't get me wrong, it's one of the best science fiction action movies. But that's the thing, Alien is a science fiction horror movie. So I think Alien does belong in the Halloween month segment. Yes, Aliens has scares, but I would say Alien is more of what it is, a science fiction horror film. It just goes in two simple ways. Alien is one of the greatest science fiction films of all time, and one of the greatest monster movies of all time. I still consider it. I thought the Alien looked fantastic. The characters, you do root for them, especially Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver, who's one of the most iconic movie castings and characters of all time. The way Ridley Scott directed this film is just what we need in films, like, right now. Like, of course, we got great films, but we need films like Alien, like, that revolutionize movies today. So guys, that is my review for Alien. Let me know what you think of this movie in the comments below. Do you like the movie, hate the movie, or you thought it's okay? Just let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on Facebook, Stardust, Instagram, Twitter. Keep contacting me, and of course more horror movie reviews are coming very, very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day.